We now move on to the second segment of this module, and which is corporate etiquette. So let's begin again by understanding what is corporate etiquette. What is the definition of corporate etiquette? So it is a set of rules which an individual must follow at his workplace. It refers to behaving sensibly and appropriately in the workplace in order to create an everlasting impression. Why is corporate etiquette important? Corporate etiquette is important because it creates a professional and mutually respectful atmosphere and improves communication, which in turn helps an office to serve as a productive unit. It makes people feel respected, and that translates into better customer relationships as well.
As times change, so do social norms of personal and professional behavior. But that does not mean that basic etiquette is not required. So when we talk about or use the word etiquette, we are talking about good manners. Sometimes many of us forget the fact that business is all about people. Now, although there is no shortage of competent and very reliable people in the business world, but manners too make the difference. Wouldn't you like to collaborate with or buy from or work with a person who has high professional standards? In the recent years, companies, whether large or small, have embraced the laid-back startup culture. So, in this laid-back startup culture, cubicles have been removed, they have been dismantled, and they have been replaced with open floor plans. We also have office furniture, which has changed to include bean bags, nap pods, and even a gaming arcade. Suits and ties have been replaced with t-shirts and jeans. But if you feel that in this kind of a less rigid work environment or less rigid office environment, etiquettes are not necessary, then you're sadly mistaken. They are very, very essential. So here are 20 time-tested corporate etiquette values you must embrace. First and foremost, pay attention to names. Now, it is one of the basic things or the first piece of information that you come to know about a person or come to know about someone. And it is how people recognize you and address you. So names are important. So when you give your name to others, make sure that you also include your last name or your surname. If you do not know how to pronounce a particular name, then please ask, be sincere and ask for the pronunciation. Don't butcher people's names or invent a nickname. Call people what they want to be called. Now here some of you might say that I remember faces well, but I can't remember names. Well, then there are two small little tricks to how to remember names. One is that maybe you can associate the name with a friend or a colleague or your relative who has a similar name, or you can associate that person with the name of that person with a particular trait that that person has. The second way that you can remember names is to, once you are introduced to that person, then use their name again and again in the conversation so that you don't forget it. The second corporate etiquette rule is introduce others. Try to introduce other people, unless of course you know that they are acquainted. It makes people feel valued, and it doesn't matter what their position or their status may be, but they feel valued. So when you are introducing people, just don't stick to giving their names, but you can add a little more information about them, like for example, what is their role in the company and what job do they do, or what does that role entail, but be sure to make it brief. Next we have the time and tested, that a handshake is still the professional standard. So it shows that you are polite, you're confident, and you're approachable. So the handshake, remember, has to be firm and it should be short because it expresses a positive trait. Usually the higher ranking person will offer their hand first, but even if they don't, you can always offer yours. Now, a simple smile or a nod or a hello in a casual work atmosphere works as well. But there is no harm in going that extra mile to reach out to a person with a handshake. Of course, these COVID times have changed all this. People are a little cautious about whether to shake hands or not. But then in that case, you can either give a fist bump or you can use the very polite gesture of a namaste. Always use the golden words. The golden words being thank you and please. Of course, it goes without saying, but in the professional atmosphere, this basic form of courtesy is a must. Again, it shows that you appreciate people and people like it when you say thank you. This also translates to not just face to face, saying thank you or please to people when you meet them face to face, but it also applies to your emails. So while we have in this today's world of emails, you always send a thank you email to people, which is fine, which is acceptable also, but a personal touch would be when you write a handwritten thank you note. Personally, I would love to get one, instead of an email, I would like to get a handwritten thank you note. Don't interrupt. And I'm not telling you, but this is a corporate etiquette that you need to develop. So many of us, are so keen to give our opinions or make our points that we tend to interrupt people mid-sentence. Now, even if it is a heated discussion and you want to interrupt, please don't, because it is disrespectful and it shows that you don't respect the other person's opinions. So here the key is to remember to be assertive and not aggressive. Next, watch your language. Now, whether it is written or whether it is verbal, choose your words wisely. Of course, rude, offensive, derogatory language is an absolute no-no, but so is slang, not in the professional atmosphere. Don't walk into someone's office unannounced. You must, don't assume that it is all right to interrupt people while they are working. So you can, knock on the door, say excuse me or say a hello and ask if it is a good time to talk. Now, if you feel that what you wish to discuss is going to take more than a couple of minutes, then I suggest you should either call or you should write a mail and schedule a time that is suitable for both of you. Next is don't gossip. Now, while, some of us think that it's all right, it's perfectly all right, and it really, it's a natural tendency for us to talk, and gossip is nothing but harmless. Actually, gossip is not harmless. It is damaging to the person concerned, and it shows you also in a very poor light. So I would say that although it is a natural tendency to be curious and to know what other people are up to or what other people are doing, it is best not to speak behind people's back because it is disrespectful. Okay, double check before you hit send. So this applies, of course, to your messages or even your emails. So you need to check on the spellings as well as the grammatical errors that you might have made. And with spell check, actually, there is no room for, or I would say rather no excuse for typos. Do a quick read and make sure that the meaning and the tone that you wish to convey are correct. And no smileys, please. Emails don't have smileys. The next corporate etiquette that you need to cultivate is don't eavesdrop. People are entitled to their private conversations, whether it is in person or on phone. So give them that privacy. Besides this, I would also say that this would extend to emails too. So when people are typing out their emails, don't stand over their shoulders and read what they are typing. Next is avoid the big two. What are the big two? Religion and politics. Both of these topics are highly charged minefields in a professional atmosphere. So it is best to leave them at the entrance before you step into the office. So here you might ask, then what does one share? And how much should one share? So I would say that yes, you can talk about other things, but how much should you share? Don't overshare, but at the same time, don't seem too distant, because that might be construed as you being a snob. There are some people who are comfortable in telling their all, letting other people know what is happening in their lives and everything else. But on the other hand, you must understand that some other people might not be comfortable sharing what is happening in their lives. So don't be nosy either. Respect people's right to, say how much they want and whether they would like to share it with you or not. Always be punctual. That goes without saying. Now, being punctual shows that you value other people's time. You have to understand that you can't be inconsiderate and prove that, okay, by not being punctual, you are busier than other people. It doesn't prove that you are busier than other people. It proves that you are inconsiderate. If you have to attend a meeting, I would say that you must be there 5 or 10 minutes before. Needn't be there for the meeting really early. But if you find that you're running a little behind schedule and that you're going to be late for the meeting, then I would suggest that you call up the concerned party and tell them that you are running a little behind schedule. Okay. Next corporate etiquette that you need to cultivate is of showing genuine interest. Show genuine interest. So when you're talking to your clients or maybe to your co-workers, make sure that you keep eye contact and you nod your head, use gestures to show them that you are interested in what they are saying. Here I would like to add that after the person has spoken, after they've said what they want to say, you must even ask questions, which again shows that you were paying attention to what they were saying and that you were an active listener. So here, being an active listener is very, very important. Acknowledge others. So when someone walks up to you, make sure that you acknowledge them with either a smile or a nod of your head or any other gesture that you feel is appropriate. If you are busy at that particular time, then make sure that you through gestures, you indicate to the person that they need to wait till you finish whatever is at hand. Now, being busy is no excuse to ignore other people. So even if you pass somebody in the hallway, on the stairs and in the lift, and you don't have time to talk to them, you can simply wave or say hello. So like I said, being busy does not mean that or is not an excuse to ignore people. No phone calls during meetings. Focus on the discussions. Don't take calls, don't text, don't check your emails, because it is disrespectful and, frankly speaking, very annoying. It also results in very longer meetings because the participants continuously lose focus. Okay. Don't be a business card pusher. So don't simply go around handing your business cards to whomever you meet. It is being aggressive. It's a sign of being aggressive, unless of course you are on a sales call. So before you reach into your pocket to take out your card, ask the other person for his card, or maybe ask them if they would like to exchange cards, or you could even ask if you could leave your card with them. Another thing that I need to point out here is that you simply don't hand over a business card like this. You need to hold it at both sides, on both sides, and then hand it over to the other person. Dress appropriately. Now we always tell ourselves, that you must never judge a book by its cover, but it's human tendency. So what happens is that studies in fact have shown that people notice your appearance. They tend to notice your appearance first, and this is their first impression. So you have to lay emphasis on dressing appropriately. Now if you pay attention or you put effort into your appearance, then it is more likely that you will put as much enthusiasm into your work too. Here I must say that it's not important to wear branded stuff, but whatever dress you wear, it has to be clean, it has to be ironed, and it should not be frayed. Revealing clothes are a no for both men and women. Women also need to realize that they must not wear heavy makeup or heavy jewelry to their workplace. Whatever you might wear, remember, good hygiene is equally important. So if comb your hair, and if you have a beard, then make sure that you trim it regularly, or if you don't have a beard, then shave regularly. Make use of deos and perfumes, so that of course here I must say that don't use very strong deos or perfumes, but also remember at the same time that nobody would like to sit next to or work alongside somebody who has body odor or somebody who smells like fried food. So please be sure that you put in effort to put up a good first impression, because they say very correctly that you don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. Respect shared areas and items. So here most of the companies will have a separate kitchen, or they might have a fridge wherein you can keep your lunches, your snacks or drinks. Now don't be the person who is blamed for stealing other people's food, and don't be messy either. So clean up after yourself. And if you're using the company supplies, like for example the company printer or the stapler, then make sure that you replenish the papers and the staples for use for the next person. The next corporate etiquette that you need to really focus on is not to be a complainer. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. And of course, when I say negative Nancy, I mean both men and women. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. So if you feel that there is an issue which needs to be addressed, don't whine about it, but approach the right person and offer solutions. But here, please think before you speak. Good table manners are a must. So it would happen that it could so happen that you go out with your client for a sit down meal in a restaurant or a hotel. So there you need to be mindful of your table manners. So for instance, you mustn't speak with your mouth full, or you mustn't speak or chew on your food with your mouth open. Don't use the napkin that they give you to blow your nose. Using your telephone, checking your telephone all the time or playing on the phone is also a no-no. While you're at the table, elbows should always be off the table. And if you're in a business meeting, you've gone out on a business meet or a luncheon, then make sure that you don't order anything that is messy. Order anything from the menu that is messy to eat. And as far as cutlery goes, people get a little confused as to what fork or what spoon to use, particularly when there is a sit down meal and it is a course meal wherein the soup comes in first and then the appetizer, and then the rest follows. So generally next to the plate you would find a lot of spoons and forks and knives. So you don't need to get flustered if you really don't know which fork or spoon to use. So here the trick is to start from the outside and work yourself inside. Okay, work your way in. I wouldn't say inside, I would say work your way in. So the outermost spoon would probably be your soup spoon, and by the time you reach the end of the meal, you'll have a small little spoon left, which would be your dessert spoon. Yeah. To conclude, I must say that if you have a business which is global, or if you travel internationally, for your work, then you must research the business culture and etiquette of that concerned country, because that will show that you are considerate of their traditions